Well, hello and welcome to the Profit Express. I'm Tim Healy, and I'm inviting you to join me each and every week so together we can win the battle for business. That's right. We do it here and only here on the Profit Express. So thanks for being on board. Thanks for sharing some of your time with me today. Now, if you are the business owner or the sales leader who typically is listening to the show, you've probably heard a few things about marketing in 2026. AI is everything. SEO is dead. But what is it? What's hype? What's reality? What's BS? I don't know. So today I want to cut through the noise of what marketing really is in 2026. And I think it's changed at a rate much greater than I'm used to as a business owner. And obviously it's changed at such a rate because of AI. But I, like many of you, is trying to decipher, what really matters, what's hype. And that's why I'm very excited to have today's guest, because he's going to help us cut through that clutter. And if you're a business owner and you haven't changed or updated your marketing strategy in the past 24 months, that's a short period of time, 2 years. You know how quickly 2 years can go. So if you haven't addressed your marketing strategy in the last 2 years, then it's safe to say you, kind of like myself, we're behind. We're definitely behind. And AI isn't coming. It isn't something that's, down the horizon or down the pike. It's here. And if you're not ready for it, if you don't know how to embrace it, it's probably going to, chew you up, spit you out kind of thing. So today's guest, he's Len Ward, and he's actually a former Wall Street VP of institutional equity trading. And he made the transition from the world of finance to become a digital marketing expert, and now leads the AI revolution as managing partner of Comexis, and they are an AI consulting and product development firm. He's the kind of heavyweight we need to decipher, people like you and I, small business owners, to decipher what the hell's going on with marketing in 2026. So it's a great pleasure to have Len on board the Profit Express. Len, how are you today?
Doing well. Thanks for having me.
No, my pleasure. Listen, it's safe to say small business owners, we're aware of AI. We probably are using it, ChatGPT, Copilot, in any number of its different forms. Some of us are using it better than others. But there's an awful lot that we don't know. And I'm kind of speaking, for the listener of the Profit Express and for so many of those small business owners out there. So let's start with what I like to think is a great basic starter question. What has changed in marketing in just the last 2 years?
I mean, the obvious is obviously artificial intelligence, but the core foundation of what has changed is that we're moving from search and retrieve to solve my problem, which means typically for the better part of the last 20 years, maybe even a little bit more, you'd go to Google, Yahoo, Netscape, I'm dating myself there, and you would search for something. You'd search for, maybe you had you're looking for somebody to do work on your kitchen, or you're looking for a doctor, or you're looking for a finance advisor. You'd go to Google, you'd put some keywords in, you'd search for information, and companies who did it right would rank well in SEO. They'd have pay-per-click ads up, and their goal was to try to get you on the website to generate a lead, or at the bare minimum, at least maybe give you a white paper, some sort of download. They give your email and they start marketing to you. Right. So that individual would basically take all the information, all the searching, Google retrieving it, you looking at it, you're trying to make a decision as to what you want. So you decipher through tons and tons of blogs and websites and so forth. What's happened over the last 2 years is now it's solved my problem, which means individuals, they don't want to take the time to read all of this information. They don't want to search. They want to tell you what their problem is. And AI comes right back up with a solution. So when you think about that, that's a fundamental big shift in marketing, where it's a whole different mindset of before you're just trying to, I hate to say it, but almost like, build a mousetrap per se to get the individual in, get them in the funnel, work them through. Now, every single thing you do, content, video, podcasting, everything has got to be, what is the problem we're solving? And this is how we're going to solve it. And that's a pretty big shift in marketing.
So that's the big shift. as you explained again, so many of us are used to SEO. So many of us are used to,
Mhm.
getting traffic, getting clicks, etc. But what do you think the typical small business owner is misunderstanding about AI as it relates to their marketing?
The rapid speed that it's improving, the rapid speed of which is taking over everything we do. Um, in the next 12 to 18 months, individuals are no longer going to be doing search and retrieve. Organic traffic coming to your website is going to plummet. There's no question it's going to. It already is starting to plummet. It's actually called the great decoupling. When you're looking at your analytics, you're beginning to see the impressions compared to how many people are clicking on your actual website is really beginning, the gap is getting wider and wider. And I don't think people are prepared, for that change. I don't think
Hmm.
they understand the speed at which individuals are embracing AI. Currently, right now, if I'm correct, I think there's a billion users that are now using ChatGPT. There's 8 billion people on the planet. So you have to start thinking about that. Anybody who's making this a 2027 issue, they're making a mistake.
So it's the speed of which is happened. Okay, so that's number one. Go back to that statistic that you cited just a moment ago. You're basically saying,
Mhm.
the amount of traffic is plummeting, and I think you gave like a 12 to 18-month window. What
Mhm.
should we be aware of that will clearly be happening? I mean, because that's a very short period of time before you know it's going to be here.
Mhm. I think what's going to happen, you're starting to see it now. I think what's going to happen is people who are solely building their marketing plan on lead generation, which we all did. It was absolutely the way to be marketing forever. And in better parts, it still is. But what you're going to see, my prediction over the next 12 to 18 months is this. You're going to start seeing people who made a lot of money just doing SEO campaigns and they were getting great leads that way. They're going to realize the traffic is just not there anymore. They're going to start pushing that money towards pay per click. And what's going to happen is the people who historically made money on pay per click because they were happy investing in that, they're going to start seeing their prices are going up, they're getting higher because other people are coming in because SEO is really not, ringing the bell anymore. It's just not doing it.
Mm.
And what's going to happen is your competitive bidding environment is going to get worse and worse and worse. It's going to get higher and higher and higher. But what's happening is going to be the ground underneath you is going to be kind of eradicating underneath you because less and less people are coming to Google to get to that pay per click ad, or even if they do go to SEO to get to the SEO content. So you're going to start realizing that the people you're targeting, the size, which was massive for Google for years, is going to start drying up. And these people are now moving over. They're getting answers on social media via influencer marketing. They're getting answers via ChatGPT. So that's what's going to happen. So to kind of go in Wall Street layman terms, and I could be dead wrong on this, Google is a cash cow. They make a fortune. I know they're making a massive investment in AI. They're making
Mm.
that because of all of their ad dollars. I think it's 85% of their revenue, right? Or 80% of their revenue. Well,
Right.
as less and less people start advertising on Google, that money's going to start drying up. And I actually think for the first time, maybe quarter four, Google said at this time on their earnings report how AI is becoming an issue for them, and they know it's being an issue for ad dollars. By quarter four, I would not be surprised if they miss numbers
Really?
because because people are not putting all the ad dollars there anymore. We even have our client base saying, well, how much money should I be putting into Google? And forever, I'd be like, 95% of your money should be going to Google. Now, I can't say that. Now, you have to start building your brand. You have to build a brand, and you're going to have to take a step back on lead gen and think of what your brand looks like in 2026 in the world of AI and influencer marketing. It's not that Google's going to die. It's not that SEO and pay per click are going to go away forever. But in 18 months, in my opinion, is going to have less of an impact than anybody can actually think right now. So if I'm wrong on that, I'm wrong on that. But I do think that the earnings, I think they're going to miss quarter four.
So you were historically always telling your clients 95% of budget goes towards Google AdWords,
Some sort of,
Google.
mhm,
Okay.
excuse me, some
When
sort of lead gen. Yeah.
Right. So when did you start to shift that advice as part of the strategy you're
Last
offering
couple,
your clients?
last couple of years, we were, I mean, social media marketing has always been good. And I mean, this is going, I'm more focusing on, different types of marketing, B2B marketing and so
Mm.
forth. Social media marketing has always been exceptionally strong. Facebook ads, Instagram ads, even TikTok to a lesser extent. Um, But over the last couple years, we've really been talking to our clients about let's start thinking about life beyond just lead generation. Let's start
Hmm.
thinking about what lead generation looks like in 2026, 2027. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think anybody thought AI would ramp up as fast as it has, and it's getting faster. So over the last couple of years, we have asked clients to maybe start diversifying their funds, maybe even looking at some old school traditional marketing,
Right.
really start building your brand and so forth. So I would say a better part of 2 years, we've been telling clients to start paying attention to that.
We've been seeing the shift. Okay.
Yeah.
So you have marketing agencies,
Mhm.
obviously the world, if it's changing for small business owners, the people who provide that service, marketing agencies, is dramatically changing for them.
Mhm.
Uh, what or which, I should say, which marketing jobs are going to disappear first?
Well, I don't necessarily know if marketing jobs are going to disappear. I'm asked that question all the time. I think what's going to happen is you're going to have less people at a marketing agency. So, like even right now, my small tight team, I have no question just by how we run our AI marketing stacks, I would put my team up against a team of 100. And I don't say that lightly, just because of what we can do and how quick we can turn things around. So I think you're going to see agencies really, really kind of go from maybe like these mega shops on Madison Ave or these large regional shops where they have 2 or 300 people. I think you're going to see powerhouse agencies drop down to anywhere between 5 and 25 people. And that's going to 25 is going to be like a big marketing agency. I don't think people understand what AI can do now, how much it can do.
Right.
But if you're going to say what jobs do I think will be eliminated to reduce that headcount down to 25, copywriters, strategists, I think paid media marketing managers.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
I even think some project managers, because AI kind of project manages itself. As long as you have human co-pilots, we can talk about that in a minute. But I do think that's what's going to happen. But if I tell people right now, if you're a kid, you're in college and you want to take marketing, I wouldn't do that. I don't think that's going to be necessary.
So, and listen,
Now I
I
do think,
appreciate the fact that you run an agency, but jobs are disappearing. Like you said, perhaps
yeah,
copywriter probably be the hardest one hit.
copywriter will be hit. But you know what's going to happen is the copywriter is going to morph. You're going to have a copywriter who's excellent and they're going to be an editor. So they're going to be able to edit like multiple blogs or multiple pieces of content that you're putting out there. But here's what I do tell people at AI. The creative individual is not going to leave. So the great artistic director, the great copywriter comes up with a great story, the great designer, they're going to learn how to pilot these tools in a way that they've never been able to do before. But I still think you're going to clearly see, what that might have been AI, built, but you can tell a human was behind it. So I think the great creative minds are going to kind of crash through to a whole new world where their work is going to be absolutely amazing because they're going to be able to put one of the hardest things for creative people and working with them is what's in their head, getting it on paper, or what's in
Mm,
their head and getting it on a canvas. Now
yeah.
that they have something on their phone where they can whip something up really, really quick, I think the stuff they're going to create is going to be amazing. There's just going to be less of them. How that's going to be priced out in the future, I don't know, but there will be less of them.
Mm. So there will be casualties. It's up to those, how they're going to adopt, obviously, to what the opportunity is or is not.
Mhm.
Um, if you look at the website, okay, the website has been around for, God, how many years now? A website has been around. So let's talk about the website specifically. Okay. For so many businesses, it's been a fundamental tool, a foundational tool for business and for marketing. So, what happens to the website? How does it change in relation to AI?
Your website's going to become a repository for all of your company's information. It's going to be where you're going to store all of your pieces of content,
Hmm.
whatever that content may be. And that is what AI is going to use to crawl and give answers within the AI dashboard, ChatGPT, Gemini, Grok, Claude, whichever one you're going to use. So
Hmm.
you're going to notice your website will be less and less important, like what's the navigation look like and what do the images and video look like, because you're going to see a point where you're not really looking at your website traffic anymore, but your website's still important because it's your company's data room that is needed to plug into all the different AI platforms that you're going to want to be talking to your prospects or potential prospects for. So I think the future of websites is going to look very, very different. You may just land on somebody's website that just has a straight Google like type search bar that's an AI search, which is kind of where some of the websites we're thinking about building right now. And you can just interact with it and pull data up, pull video up, pull images up. But worrying about top navigation and images and whose headshot do we have on there and all that. Right now in 2026, I think it still matters. Going
Mhm.
into 2027, I think people are going to look at websites as something we have to have to store our content, but it's not necessarily going to be the tip of the spear for marketing anymore. ChatGPT, Gemini, which is
Mhm.
Google, their
Yep.
goal is to keep you within that ecosystem and work within that ecosystem. And that's why some of the products they're rolling out right now has your company working within there. And again, giving people their answers because they want answers there in one spot, not search and retrieve and going to look at 5 different websites. So that's kind of that's where I think the future of websites is going to be at.
So the look, the feel, the functionality of the website's not going to be nearly as important, it sounds like.
No, it won't be.
Really? Wow.
No. If anything, your latest post on Instagram is going to become more important. Your latest post on TikTok, your CEO or financial advisor giving you a quick update on Amazon's numbers, that's going to be tenfold more important than your website in the future. Meaning, future right now, the future we live in an AI world right now is 12 months or less. Yeah, it's scary. I wish I could unsee what I've seen, but I can't. It's it's just speeding up. It's really is. I'm even getting a little like, wait a minute. I mean, I'm
No, all
14
right,
hours
wait.
a day
So
trying to
Len,
study it.
this is interesting. And again, today's guest, we have Len Ward, managing partner of Comexis. They're an AI consulting and product development firm, and we're talking about the boogeyman in the marketing room, which is AI. And for all those small business owners who feel like they're getting their doors blown off because they don't know what's going on, we got Len here to kind of demystify it for us today. So you're very much on the inside compared to,
Mhm.
the financial advisory firm, the law practice, or a restaurant. What is it? I'm going to go back to what you just said. You said you wish you could unsee some things you've seen. What
Yeah,
is what is the biggest thing that's blown your doors off so far?
vibe coding and how fast you're going to be able to make apps and software platforms. And somebody used the term, which I really wish I didn't use the term, but they called it disposable software, which means you're going to be able to make one-off software applications for like an event, or for maybe a quick product that you're trying to sell a customer. Like for an individual customer, you're going to be able to make it within minutes to an hour, and it's going to look like the best piece of software you've ever invented. You'll use it one time, you'll never come back to it. So
Oh
if you
man.
you have to think, yeah, you have to think of the entire. A lot of people don't understand the amount of work that goes into building a software platform and how much money it is, how long it takes, and how brilliant these people are who put together these software platforms. Now, if you understand business processes and you understand how workflows go, a blueprint of a business, the DNA of a business, you're able to sit down with one of 3 platforms, 4 or 5 platforms, I guess you could say, and you could build software that gets within 85 to 95% of any major software thing out there right now. And if you have a really good backend developer or coder, you can get it to almost 100%. That's going to fundamentally revolutionize everything and any way people do business going forward. So if you think about how many times you've walked around, I have a great idea, or think about how many times it's like, I just want to show my value to a customer and being able
Right.
to whip up a piece of software real quick and say, hey, look, we're going to do a retirement calculator that I made custom for you. And I'm going to bring it right back to your house, or I'm going to present it to you tomorrow. I mean, before you're dealing with these clunky things that maybe Morgan Stanley gave the reps to go sell it, they're garbage.
Yeah.
Now you're
Yeah.
gonna be able to make something that's just in your brand that's beautiful. But that's the reason you're seeing the huge pressure on software stocks right now. I don't, people are like, oh, software will be fine. No, it's not. Somebody asked me the other day, and again, I'm not giving anybody any financial advice in any capacity, but somebody said to me, what's your prediction for Salesforce? Give me a price target. All right, 0. Like
All
it's
right,
like
wait, wait, no, wait, no,
oh,
hold on a second. So, in the backdrop for those seeing the interview, You have, the famous bull, of course, your background is in Wall Street. And now here you're talking about, because a lot of my listeners are very familiar with and are customers of Salesforce, right? The
Sure.
premier CRM out there. HubSpot's
Mhm.
obviously another big one that also very, very popular. So because of AI, vibe coding,
Mhm.
you feel confident enough, because that statement was a big statement. You're talking
Sure.
price, the valuation of the stock of Salesforce. You're saying within what period of time that could tank to zero? Am I hearing that right?
Well, the minute here's here, I guess I'll flip it over to you, and then this is where we'll know when it goes to zero. Now, I will say, I think Salesforce, and HubSpot make a great product, and I think if AI never came around, I think we're going on, and they're just great products. I
Right.
literally have used them both. We've had Salesforce at Comexis for multiple variations of it. We've built websites on HubSpot. We actually help clients build HubSpot, like you need like contact forms and all that for HubSpot. Everybody knows if you have HubSpot, you have to integrate all this stuff. But
Sure.
here's the problem, the fundamental problem with software, calling out Salesforce and HubSpot. You have to take your company's data and you have to mold it around what they've created, right? So that's what you do. Now
Right.
imagine a world where software walks in and molds their data around you, which means they don't walk in with any preconceived notions or processes and this is how you have to set it up and this is how you have to do it. No, no, no. Now imagine you have somebody working at your company or you have a freelancer or a consultant that comes in, studies your processes, studies your customer service SOPs, your sales SOPs, and your strategy SOPs, and says, "Okay, I know what it is, and I got it, and we're going
Right.
to build something that's specific for you." Where imagine when everybody walks in the next morning, they sit down, they turn their computer on, and it's just like this is natural. It's like this is exactly how we operate. This is exactly how we work. That's what's being built right now. That fundamental line, don't forget every time when you're thinking about software. Software currently, right now, every company has to adhere to their parameters and guardrails. Where the world we're headed towards is software now has to adhere to companies' guardrails and their parameters. When you do that, that's an absolute fundamental business shift. Now, do I think Salesforce could go to zero HubSpot? No, because quite honestly, their user base is so massive and they do have a lot of architecture and there is some AI baked into them. But at the end of the day, the moat they used to have is gone. And that's their fundamental problem. Me personally, if I worked for Salesforce or HubSpot, I'd be scared. I would be. So that's when you understand that, that's what changes everything. Again, I wish I could unsee what I've seen. But the minute you start working on these vibe coding products and the minute you start building stuff, you look and you're like, why would somebody put their money towards a CRM? Why would you sign a 3-year contract to go get, Salesforce or HubSpot or any of these software companies? Now, maybe we're not there 100% yet, but what, year, 2 years max?
And that's the funny thing in business. If you go back to the beginning of your career, back to the beginning of my career, when you talk about changes, in a marketplace, we would look at it, hey, what's going to happen in the next 3 to 5 years? That was usually a window, right, where
Yeah,
big changes would happen. Now we're talking months, 12 to 18 months, year and a half. I mean,
max.
that in itself is hard to imagine. Now let me go back though, Len. Again, the listeners are business owners. The listeners are salespeople, sales managers. Let's go back to vibe computing because, to be honest, I wasn't very familiar with it.
Mhm.
It was only through our initial chat prior to the show. So, for the audience in mind, how do you explain vibe coding in its most basic form?
Imagine sitting down and like you can actually talk to these things. I know people don't realize, but you can actually go do the voice mode on ChatGPT or
Hmm.
I think Gemini too, and you can talk. But let's just say you're going to type down, you come up with a great business idea and you type in and you say, I have a great business idea where I know and I'm literally making something up here. I know every coffee shop in Manhattan along all the train lines or every Starbucks, right? And I know if I build an app that, you could actually run up and get coffee and 8 minutes later, you can get back down to get the train, literally making something up right now. It probably doesn't even make sense. However, imagine typing that in and saying, I want to create an app for that. I want to create a software for that. And I want you to let me know when the trains are running. I also want to plug into a database where if there's any train delays, so I have a little bit of time. And is there any way I can grab a Starbucks API where I can put my order in for the coffee and I can run up and I know I have 8 minutes? You could literally have a functioning app like that within 10 minutes,
Holy
maybe
shit.
15. So you got to tweak it. You got to play with it. You got to plug some stuff in, and you do need to understand API and things like that. But again, you don't need to know as much as you think. It's not that hard. It's some, trial and error. But yeah, that's how quick you can build something right now. And it's pretty good. We're rolling off. We're starting to speed up now. Our velocity is really starting to speed up. We always called it like 1.0 versions of the stuff we're building. Now we're
Right.
moving up to 5, 6, 7.0 versions where we have some pretty complicated stuff that we're rolling out there that we feel really good about. Now it gets a little wonky. There's some bugs, but it's like an assembly line. And that's what companies are contacting us for. They're like, all right, we're thinking about this, we're thinking about that, because you do want to have somebody helping you out, whether that's internally or a company like us. We're at the stage now where you do have to have companies like us to come in and help you out, but the cost is
Right.
a fraction of the cost. And it gets done so quick. It's not like, all right, this is a 6 month plan. There's no 6 month plans anymore. There's a 6 week plan. So if that. So that's kind of what vibe coding is.
So it's and like you said, you do need somebody in your capacity to navigate the ship, navigate the project. But is it becoming realistic where a typical small business can create software without developers?
Yes, we're very close to that. But this is I always hedge the bet with this. Years ago, we were always told, well, marketers are going to not be needed because anybody can run pay-per-click campaigns. The problem they forgot is that business people need to run their business. They don't have time to run marketing. They need to do
Right,
sales.
right,
They have
right.
to presentation. So I think what's going to happen is this is where marketing agencies, when they're smart, this is where they're going to morph. This is my recommendation to other agency owners is that you need to get really, really good at this because business owners are going to expect you to roll these types of products off at will when they need it. But yes, I do think internally, if you're like a 1 or 2 person shop, and I have this fictitious person named Jenny in the garage. She's going to be able to whip up something tonight when she's done work that she's going to be able to roll out in 2 or 3 days with nobody's help. So the days of you being solely dependent on these people, that those days are coming to an end.
And they're coming to an end a year or two, sounds like.
Less. Nah, less. Companies should be fully vibe coding and rolling out products by the end of 2026.
Oh, wow.
You should have if you take, I can't emphasize enough, take 20 minutes a day, 30 minutes a day to learn vibe coding and try to roll your first product out in the first couple weeks, even if it's stupid, makes no sense whatsoever. Give it a
Right.
shot. That's what I would do.
Okay, so let's get back to earlier we talked about websites and the roles that they play, and it's not getting clicks and traffic anymore per se, as it is. There's the content, and it's how does ChatGPT, how does AI answer the questions that your company's the best company for product X, or your company's the best company to work for, et cetera. So if you still have to be found in a way, let's talk about your brand. Let's talk about content, because that's not going away. So
No.
how should the typical small company think about their brand and how important the brand, the image, and the messaging is with AI now?
I think right now, let's just say you have $1,000 a month that you're investing in marketing. I would probably do at least $500 to $600 building your brand. And building your brand is this. And it's some of the things that people cringe when they hear it because they don't want to do it. I really don't like it, but I do it because I know I eat my own dog food. I can't tell my client to do it and I'm not doing it. Um, but but you need to be on podcasts. You need to create TikTok shorts. You need to, or TikTok, videos,
Oh
YouTube
God,
shorts. You,
Len, not TikTok. Come on, man, you're killing me.
but here's the problem I tell people. Your client is now aging into that TikTok kid is now becoming your client. Like they're starting to get to the
Oh
age where
shit.
they have money where they're starting to invest. So TikTok, Instagram, but people are going to fully expect and how they're going to recognize your brand. Let's just say you're, a financial advisor and you got really, really sharp at what you're doing. It's because they're following your quick hits of advice on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube Shorts, and then they're listening to you on a podcast. And that's kind of how you're going to build your brand. The days of just throwing a bunch of money at massive ads and so forth, yeah, that's fine. But if you have it, but if you're a smaller business and you're trying to compete, you have to build your brand because I don't know what the world of lead generation is going to look like in the future. I don't think anybody does. We have some ideas, we have some thoughts about it,
Right.
about what it's going to look like. But I say there's a blog we wrote a long time ago where we're at the intersection of influencer marketing and AI. And that's kind of where we are right now. And I almost plead with business owners as much as one of us generally don't like being behind a camera and hearing ourselves talk. Guess
Yeah.
what? Your clients want you behind a camera and they're going to want to hear you talk. And that's how you're going to build your brand. And here's what's going to happen. AI is going to start paying attention to what you're watching and what you're seeing and what you're digesting. Because AI, you don't realize, is going to become interwoven in everything you do, especially when the new series rolled out, the new Alexa's, pretty much on the horizon. These are things that are going to start paying attention to what you're doing. Oh, and ChatGPT is working on an actual wearable device. So they're going to see who you're looking at. They're going to see what you're watching.
Mm.
And these are the types of things when they have to give you a recommendation, they're going to say, hey, you know what? We really like what Tim's saying. Let's go back. Let's run through Tim's stuff real quick. Let's verify it matches up with Len's stuff. You know what? We want you to talk to Tim. We know you follow him. Why don't you give him an opportunity? As a matter of fact, we have you scheduled for a conversation with him next week because AI is going to know your schedule. It's going to know what you're interested in. And Tim is the expert on what you're looking for. Plus, you've been following him and looking at him on social media. Let's do that. That's how businesses are going to get discovered in the future. It's agent to agent marketing. It's not going to be human to human, which means a company's agent and your personal agent are going to talk to each other based upon what you're doing. And that's how meetings are going to get booked. And that's how business is going to be done. Doesn't mean the handshakes and networking and all that's going away. And it doesn't mean there won't be some form of lead generation. No, but
Mm.
I'm saying that is what the future of marketing, as a lot of us in marketing are having conversations, the picture that's beginning to emerge. That's what we're seeing.
So, because in the background, AI knows what content you're consuming, the video, the blog, whatever it might be. Then it's like, okay, this is what you're interested in. This is what you're following. Then it's like all this behind the scenes orchestration of putting you in contact with what they feel is, you know, the best company, the best site. Again, based off of how you consume content.
Yeah, and they're also going to know your buying habits. They're going to the number one question about retirement. I remember when I was a stockbroker, how much
Yeah.
money do I need to retire? Like that's the
Right.
number one. How much money do I need to retire? Well, and
Sure.
it's always 80. What's the rule? 80% of what you spend now, or something like that. I forget. But they're going to know your spending habits. Like they're going to know the credit card you're using. They're going to know the things your husband or wife and what you do when you're going out, how you like to eat, how you like to travel, and then they're going to know the types of things you probably should be investing in, the things you should be looking at. And then they're going to identify the financial advisor who understands that world, and that's who they're going to connect you with. So how much AI is going to be interwoven into your life and how much they're going to understand about you, I think people are always like, oh, my phone's following me around and I'm getting tracked on different websites. I don't think you understand what's coming. Like it's going to know every minute detail about you, from your medical to your spend to everything you're doing. And it's going to know exactly where to plug and play to move you forward because you have a problem and it's there to solve it. That's its goal. That's its job. That's everything it's going to do. So as you're thinking about marketing as a small business owner, before you start thinking about the audience and everybody else, the number one question you have to ask yourself is, what is the top 10 problems people walk through the front door and have? And what can I do to solve that? via podcast, video, content, and so forth. And that is what I need to do for marketing going forward. No more, let's try to get them in a mousetrap and get that lead to the front door. That's not going to work anymore.
Okay, so last night I'm in bed with my wife. We're both on our phones, which I know we're not supposed to do. I understand.
We do the
So
same thing, my wife and I. Yep.
yeah, my wife is scrolling next to me. I'm scrolling, and she's saying she's looking for not body lotions but body oils, right? And so she starts talking, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I was looking for this, I was looking for that, and I don't want something with seed oils." And then as I'm scrolling on an unrelated topic, I'm on Instagram. Guess what pops up on my feed?
Same thing.
Coconut oil.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I know we all get it. I know it's not breaking news, but man, that is just, I still have a hard time wrapping my head around that.
Yeah, you should. I mean, I think Amazon finally came out and admitted that they were, that the phone, they were listening
Yeah,
via
of
Alexa and
course.
all that. It was. I mean, everybody. I love the people who say, "Well, I'm really private. I don't want anybody tracking me and doing anything." Look, the minute where's the camera? The minute you turn that on, like you're tracked.
Right.
So
Yeah, you're done.
and the minute
All
you
right.
start asking, like ChatGPT, when you're asking all these questions, like it's building a profile for you right now. People don't understand that. It's starting to learn about you. It's remembering what you're saying. It's not going to do anything with that data, but it's building a relationship with you. It's understanding like what you're looking for and what you're asking. So you'd be surprised when you ask ChatGPT in 6 months, "Hey, draw a picture of me." You're going to be surprised of what it comes back with. We're not there
No.
yet, but it's getting close.
Okay, now listen, I know you're in the business, you know, managing partner, Comexis. This is what you do for a living. This is how you put food on the table. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
What part of this as a human being do you not like?
I don't like what I don't like. The thing I don't like hearing the most is about the amount of job loss that I think that they're letting us know about, and how like universal income and
Mm,
it's almost taking away the human will. And and you hear Elon Musk and brilliant people talk about it. Well, you're not going to have to worry about money. You know, the minute you take away, especially from an American, the ability to strive to be better, to strive to be great, to go try to accomplish things that nobody's ever accomplished before, you pretty much have a nation that's defeated.
yeah,
And I have a very difficult time believing that the humans are not going to be the final yes, no, like when something is rolled out there on AI. I think there's some
mm,
things that can be automated, a lot that can be automated, but
sure.
there's a lot of things that I don't feel comfortable as a human. If I have a major surgery, I'm sorry, I want a human to operate on me. Maybe there's robotics they have AI data that's helping them out, but I want
Right.
that. If you're dealing with mental health issues, I think talking to another human being is something you should want to do, not necessarily an AI chatbot. And I think, so all the way down the road, I mentioned this earlier today. I said it to somebody, I'm like, when I go to a beer, I want a pint of Guinness. I want a bartender to give me a pint of Guinness. I don't want, a robotic thing walking up to me, So there's this human interaction that I think that we realize we all need,
Right.
and the human touch, whatever it may be. That bothers me, whether we're almost creating a generation where people are just going to be in their house. They're not going to come out. They want to do anything. Like, that's where AI bothers me. But I'll say this: everybody talks about where AI and we're going to lose a lot of jobs. And I think we are. And I think
Hmm.
we are going to go through a really, really rough time.
Yeah.
But I think there's two things that are going to happen. I think number one, I think once we're over that hump, I think that you're going to see the dawn of micro entrepreneurship unlike anything we've ever seen, which is the foundation of what America is. People forget how many people, small businesses employ, which is the majority.
Yep.
And I think you're going to start noticing one or two person shops and a very different way you're going to live, and you're going to make money, and you can strive. You're going to be competing against other people. And I think that's going to go to the second thing, which I think is going to happen over the hump. People are not going to lose their jobs because they don't understand AI. It's not going to help. You better learn AI. What's going to happen is those one or two person shops is now going to threaten the 10,000 person bank, because they're moving at a speed so quick in AI. They can do things so quick so nimble that it's almost like trying to turn around an aircraft carrier, in a harbor for how long
Yeah.
it's going to take these big businesses. That's where the job loss is going to happen. They are not going to be able to compete. Slowly but surely, they're going to start losing contracts. They're going to start losing things. And that's what's going to happen. So to me, when people keep talking about losing their jobs, I come back and say, well, how are the big businesses planning on navigating an AI if they have to compete against these little micro
Hmm.
businesses? Because you're going to have a tough time. Some large businesses are going to make it, they're going to be fine. But I think more large businesses, maybe like massive accounting firms, massive law firms, all the lawyers are going to go away. No, maybe the 10,000 person law firm is going to go away. But, Jenny and Mike, husband and wife lawyer team, they're going to be kicking ass, and they're going to be a serious threat to them. So I think we have to reframe that conversation. And I think that's the number one thing that bothers me about AI right now is too many people are like, everyone's going to lose their jobs. No, I think the companies that are employing thousands of people may have a problem on their hands, but as long as you stay in touch with everything and you understand your workflow process, and if you have a little bit of an entrepreneurial mind, I think you're going to come into your golden age. I think we're all going to come into our golden age, but got to understand there's going to be some blood on the streets before we get there.
There will no doubt, thank you for being candid and honest about it. And yes, there will be collateral damage. People will lose jobs. People will adapt or not adapt. And again, that's human nature, and that goes back to the beginning of time.
Yeah.
And like you said, the micro business, opportunities for 1, 2, 3 man shops to be very, very disruptive can create, tremendous opportunity. So
Mhm.
it's not all gloom and doom.
No,
It is a little disturbing in certain levels, but
sure.
I appreciate what you're saying. So, Len, let's wrap it up this way.
Mhm.
We've talked about so many different things today, and it's new for so many business owners. Just a website and its usefulness and how that's going to be kind of, thrown on its end. So you have the business owner who's listening, and I'll say the typical small business owner, fill in the blank. What guidance, what mindset would you say, hey, this is how you as a business owner should approach AI? And again, we'll use next 12 months. What's something useful that they can embrace?
All right. So here are the three things I tell business owners to do all the time in 2026. First things first is start organizing all the data you have. Whatever SOPs you have, whatever strategy, whatever marketing documents, whatever documents you have that you've historically run your business with, wherever they may be,
Hmm.
create a Dropbox room, create a Google Drive. Maybe if you have like a secure play environment finance, I'm sure there's places you can go to, securely store that. Organize all of your content and start labeling it right. So structure it right. Okay, so this is all of our customer service. Like, these are all the strategies. This is retirement strategy. Everything you have all the way down, make sure you have that in a room. And the reason being is we're moving to a point where you're just going to simply have to plug an AI product into that room and it's going to be able to crawl your data. They can do that right now. They're called AI chatbots on your website.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
okay.
so get that data in a room, identify somebody at your office or you. And by the way, I highly, highly recommend the business owners do this. Don't be delegating this. You need to understand this. So you have to get back into the weeds.
Hmm.
Structure your data, number one. The second thing you have to do, sign up for ChatGPT just because everyone knows that it's easy. Or if you want to do Google's, fine too. I love Gemini product as well. But sign up for ChatGPT, pay the $20 a month. You don't need a $200 a month thing, but do the $20 a month. And as you interact with ChatGPT, make sure remember you're doing new chats. Every time you do a chat, try to do a new one. Um, Ask ChatGPT at the end of the day, say, what did we learn? What didn't we learn? And what should I do tomorrow? Every single day. Just take 2 minutes and do that. Stack it. And then at the end of the week, go back through your journals, like cut and paste, put it in a Word doc, put it in Google Doc, whatever, and go back and look at everything you learned, what you didn't learn, and what you can do going forward for next week. If you keep stacking that all the way up, no matter how fast AI moves, you're going to constantly, go in the right direction because your
Right.
foundation's there and you understand. Because what you don't realize is ChatGPT is going to tell you what you need to understand. Remember, when all these models update and everything models, these things are pretty accurate. This isn't years ago with ChatGPT where they were like, oh, well, it's only crawling data up to like 2024 back then. Now it's almost real time. So stack that and know that and make that an absolute habit every single week. The last thing I'll tell you to do is go to ChatGPT and tell it, I want you to teach me how to create a custom GPT. Do like a co-pilot GPT for yourself, like to help me do my life. You're actually going to go into the GPT section, click it. It's going to say create. You're going to hit create, and there's a talking box and say, I want to create a GPT that's going to help me learn everything about AI. It's going to help you create that, and it's going to do it within seconds. Going forward, that custom GPT is what you're going to build your foundation with AI. So get your documents in order, start doing a journal every day of what you're doing in AI, and then in conjunction with that, create a custom GPT that you can actually start that journal with and kind of start learning AI. If you do those three things, walking out of 2026, you and your company will be in a pretty good position and in a much better spot than a lot of other people, because the amount of people discounting AI or just whistling through the graveyard right now, it's a problem.
Wow. Well, thank you for the mic drop moment there, and thank you for minds blown. I'm hearing minds being blown just as we're talking right now. I knew this would be an interesting conversation, Len. I wasn't sure just how interesting. So listen, I want to thank you again. Today's guest, Len Ward, managing partner of Comexis. Thank you so much for sharing. People wanting to follow you, what's the easiest route to do that?
Just go to comexis.com and you can find all the social media links there. And if you want to reach out, have a conversation, I'm the one that answers all the forms that come in. So I am more than happy to jump on a phone. If you want to pick my brain for a couple minutes, I have no problem doing that.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Len. And
Appreciate it.
This has been the Profit Express. And what's happening to your marketing in the last 2 years? What's happening in the next 12 months? Some mind-blowing stuff that Len Ward has shared with us today. I'm still trying to process this. And, it's funny, Len, as the host of the show, I usually don't go back and listen to shows, maybe bits and pieces here and there. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to go back and listen to the entire show, because there was just too much that you shared that I couldn't absorb all at once. So thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And this is the Profit Express. Remember to tune in each and every week so together you and I can continue to win the battle for business. We do it here and only here on the Profit Express. Until next time.